Melinda Snyder's journey through life was abruptly altered by a series of tragic events that would cast a long shadow over the quiet town of Rock Hill, South Carolina. By day, she was a highly regarded realtor, known for her integrity and dedication. However, beneath the surface, a narrative was unfolding that would shock all who knew her. Melinda was an ambitious and intelligent young woman whose promising future was tragically halted in the year 1990. Her untimely death left a void deeply felt by her family, friends, and the entire community. Born and raised in this serene town, Melinda's smile was as radiant as her spirit, and she was driven by a determination to leave a positive mark on the world around her. A former beauty queen, Melinda possessed a captivating presence that extended far beyond the pageant stage. Her peers and educators admired her for her charisma and warmth. After graduating from Winthrop University with a degree in business administration, she was eager to embark on a career in real estate. Inspired by her mother's successful career in the field, Melinda was captivated by the stories of challenges and triumphs that came with the territory. Academically and professionally, her enthusiasm and professionalism earned her a stellar reputation among call church activities, showing compassion through her support of local shelters and fundraising initiatives. Described by friends as having an infectious energy and a positive outlook, Melinda was a beacon of light in any room she entered. Her move to a condo on Eden Terrace marked a new chapter of independence, filled with promise and potential, though she faced the inevitable challenges of adjusting to life on her own. Her close-knit family remained a constant presence, especially her mother and younger brother, who frequently checked in to ensure her well-being. On the fateful day of January 23, 1990, the trajectory of Melinda's life was irrevocably altered. What began as an ordinary day swiftly descended into a nightmare that would reverberate throughout Rock Hill. The circumstances surrounding her death ignited a complex investigation fraught with unforeseen twists, legal entanglements, and an unrelenting pursuit of justice. On that evening, the usual tranquility of Rock Hill was shattered by a chilling 911 call, signaling the onset of one of the town's most harrowing murder investigations. At approximately 10:30 p.m., a concerned neighbor reached out to emergency services after hearing disturbing noises emanating from Melinda's apartment, loud thuds and a muffled scream. The brevity of the call belied the gravity of the situation. Responding swiftly, officers from the Rock Hill Police Department arrived at the scene, only to be met with an eerie silence and no apparent signs of forced entry. As the investigation unfolded, the town found itself grappling with the unsettling reality that beneath the veneer of everyday life, dark and unfathomable forces could lurk. In the wake of tragedy, Melinda Snyder's story serves as a poignant reminder of the fragility of human life and the complexities that lie within the human heart. It underscores the importance of cherishing the moments we have and the enduring impact one individual can have on the world around them. Within the confines of an unassuming apartment, an unsettling scene awaited those who dared to enter. The air was thick with the echoes of violence, and the room bore silent witness to a struggle that had ended in tragedy. Melinda lay on the bedroom floor, her life extinguished in a manner that spoke of sudden brutality and unforeseen betrayal. Her body, partially clothed, told a harrowing tale through the evidence it bore, an ominous wound upon her head and the unmistakable bruising around her neck, testament to a forceful and merciless encounter. The room itself seemed to have frozen in the midst of chaos. A lamp lay overturned, casting strange shadows across the scattered remnants of Melinda's belongings. Each object displaced, each item out of place, whispered of a desperate fight for survival, a battle waged within the supposed sanctuary of her home. The absence of forced entry puzzled the investigators, suggesting a chilling possibility that the perpetrator was perhaps familiar or had gained access through means that bypassed the need for violence at the threshold. As law enforcement meticulously combed through the scene, their minds grappled with the unsettling implications. The door had been locked upon their Arriven-secured portal. The narrative of Melinda's final hours began to unfold, a tapestry woven with the mundane details of everyday life that suddenly took on a darker hue. She had been seen at a local grocery store, exchanging pleasantries with a cashier before returning to her haven unaware of the shadow that loomed. Conversations with her friends and family painted a picture of a woman poised on the brink of a new day, her plans simple and serene. She had spoken to her mother that evening, her voice carrying the promise of a quiet night at home. Yet somewhere between the familiar comfort of her routine and the looming dawn, her world had unraveled. The absence of theft suggested a motive that lay beyond the grasp of greed. Her purse, wallet, and keys remained untouched, their presence a stark reminder of the mystery that shrouded her demise. Yet amidst the ordinary, something peculiar stood out. A realtor's lockbox affixed to the doorknob, a relic from past tenants, now a potential key to understanding how the sanctity of her home had been breached. As news of Melinda's untimely death rippled through the community of Rock Hill, it left in its wake a tide of grief and disbelief. Those who had known her grappled with the incomprehensibility of her loss, holding candlelight vigils in her memory, and voicing a collective resolve to see justice served. The investigation pressed on with an urgency born of both sorrow and determination. Forensic teams, armed with the tools of modern science, meticulously gathered fibers, fingerprints, and DNA, hoping that within these remnants lay the threads that could unravel the mystery. Yet as days turned to nights, the question remained. Who had the motive and means to extinguish a life so full of promise, and how had they vanished without a trace? In the quiet moments between action and reflection, investigators pondered the nature of humanity's darker impulses. The enigma of Melinda's death was more than a puzzle to be solved. It was a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the unexpected shadows that can fall across the paths we tread. In seeking justice for Melinda, they sought not only answers, but a measure of solace in the face of the inexplicable. In the heart of Rock Hill, a small town once known for its close-knit community and tranquil existence, an unsettling tragedy unfolded, leaving a pall of fear that demanded answers. The life of Melinda Snyder, a vibrant young woman, had been abruptly extinguished, and the Rock Hill Police Department found itself at the epicenter of a complex investigation. Every detail of Melinda's existence was placed under the microscope as investigators endeavored to unravel the mystery shrouding her untimely demise. As the investigation gained momentum, detectives turned their focus to Melinda's personal circle, suspecting they had delving into her relationships and friendships, uncovering dynamics that might have harbored motives for harm. The town, gripped by unease, watched as the investigation unfolded. Thommunity. The inquiry began with an interview of a friend who had been absent at the time of the murder. This friend painted a picture of Melinda as a prudent individual, one who typically kept others at arm's length. Yet she disclosed that Melinda had recently been on edge, haunted by the unsettling feeling of being watched, a detail that added a chilling layer to the narrative. Attention soon pivoted to Brian Carver, Melinda's ex-boyfriend and a mechanic known in the local circles. Though their romantic ties had ended months before, whispers of his inability to move on circulated among acquaintances. Reports placed Brian near Melinda's condo, ons formed into something more sinister. Under scrutiny, Brian confessed to harboring residual affections for Melinda, but vehemently denied any involvement in her death. His alibi, corroborated by his presence at his auto shop during the critical hours, temporarily absolved him of suspicion, yet the shadow of doubt lingered. Another figure under the microscope was Melinda's brother, Jason Snyder. Though they shared a close bond in their youth, recent disputes had strained their relationship. Jason recounted the night of January 23rd, asserting his presence at home with his partner, a claim that was substantiated by witness accounts. Despite his seemingly solid alibi, The unresolved discord between the siblings left some investigators wary, aware that familial bonds can conceal deep-seated tensions. As detectives sifted through testimonies, a peculiar detail emerged: the presence of a realtor lockbox affixed to Melinda's front door. This lockbox, rarely used by Melinda herself, suggested the possibility of an external party accessing her apartment. The investigation tracked the lockbox back to its origins, tied to a local real estate transaction. The trail led to Edward Ed Cornell, a prominent figure in Rock Hill's real estate domain. Cornell had facilitated multiple viewings of the property and, crucially, retained a key to the lockbox, even after the sale had concluded. The unfolding investigation painted a tapestry of human relationships, fraught with complexities and hidden motives. As detectives wove through the threads of Melinda's life, the small town of Rock Hill held its breath, yearning for closure. In the pursuit of truth, the community stood on the precipice of revelation, grappling with the unsettling realization that beneath the veneer of everyday life, shadows of uncertainty and intrigue linger. The search for answers pressed on, a testament to the enduring human spirit's quest for justice and understanding in the face of life's darkest mysteries. In the quiet town of Rock Hill, a blanket of unease settled over the community as the investigation into Melinda Snyder's death unfolded. Her life had been abruptly cut short, and the search for justice was fraught with challenges and revelations that would send ripples through the town's fabric. Among the cast of characters in this unfolding drama was Edward Ed Cornell, a real estate agent whose charisma was matched by his aggressive tactics in sealing deals. His reputation preceded him, a figure both respected and scrutinized within the circles of real estate. When detectives approached him regarding Melinda's demise, his responses were a tapestry of evasion and contradiction. Initially, he claimed no recollection of Melinda, yet the digital footprints told another story. Phone records painted a vivid picture of frequent communications with Melinda's apartment, dispelling his claims of forgetfulness. Cornell attempted to downplay these interactions, attributing them to routine check-ins about a seemingly innocuous lockbox. However, each explanation only fueled the detectives' growing suspicions. The lockbox, a mundane object in the world of real estate, became a focal point of intrigue. The police, relentless in their pursuit of truth, meticulously combed through the crime scene. Fingerprints and strands of hair were collected and analyzed, yet the results yielded no conclusive matches. The investigation, however, was far from reaching a dead end. Detectives worked tirelessly to reconstruct Melinda's final days, piecing together a timeline that could illuminate the shadows surrounding her untimely death. Complicating matters further was the surveillance footage from nearby businesses. It revealed no signs of forced entry, suggesting that Melinda's killer was no stranger to her world. This notion led investigators to consider the possibility that her connections within the real estate industry might have unwittingly made her a target. As the investigation deepened, the police expanded their net, scrutinizing individuals linked to the real estate sector. Despite uncovering new leads and a growing roster of potential suspects, the case remained an enigma, its resolution elusive. The passage of time did little to quell the community's thirst for answers, as weeks turned into months, and the memory of Melie. Amidst this backdrop of uncertainty, a revelation emerged from Diane Snyder, Melinda's mother. She recounted the presence of the lockbox, an artifact from before Melinda's occupancy, left behind by the previous real estate dealings. This oversight, seemingly benign at first glance, would prove to be a pivotal piece of the puzzle. The lockbox was traced to the Carolina Realty Group, a formidable entity in Rock Hill's real estate landscape. Records revealed a cadre of agents who had once possessed the access code, among them Ed Cornell. His interactions with Melinda were not limited to the transactional. He had shown her the condo numerous times and had visited the unit mere weeks before her death, under the guise of inspection. A meticulous examination of the lockbox usage logs unveiled disturbing discrepancies, casting a new light on the narrative. The logs suggested unauthorized access, hinting at a breach of trust and security. The investigation, now rife with suspicion and complexity, continued to unravel threads that bound Melinda's fate to those who had once walked the halls of her home. In the end, the quest for truth became not just an investigation into a crime, but a reflection on the vulnerabilities of human trust and the shadows that can lurk in the most familiar of places. The story of Melinda Snyder serves as a poignant reminder of the delicate interplay between ambition, trust, and the unforeseen consequences that can alter lives forever. In the shadows of a quiet night, the tragic events leading to Melinda's untimely demise began to unfold. The forensic trail commenced with a seemingly innocuous detail: access to a digital lockbox. On this fateful night, the device was engaged, yet conspicuously absent from the record were the names of Melinda or any authorized individuals. This anomaly suggested a clandestine entry, facilitated by someone familiar with the access code, slipping into the apartment unnoticed and leaving no trace of their identity. This revelation cast a pall of suspicion upon Edward Cornell, a man whose presence in Melinda's life had been ostensibly benign. Investigators found themselves drawn to the possibility that Cornell, or perhaps another with similar access, had exploited this breach in security. As the noose of suspicion tightened, Cornell was summoned for questioning. His demeanor, initially composed, began to fray under the weight of persistent inquiry. When pressed about his whereabouts on the night of January 23rd, his narrative faltered. He initially professed to have been ensconced in his home, absorbed in the glow of television. Yet, this alibi crumbled when evidence surfaced of his car prowling the vicinity of Eden Terrace around the time of the murder. Witnesses further undermined Cornell's account, describing a figure matching his description purchasing a soft drink mere minutes from Melinda's residence, a direct contradiction to his initial claims. As investigators pieced together these fragments, a troubling connection between Cornell and Melinda emerged. Friends recounted Melinda's disquiet, confiding business. A co-worker had once sounded the alarm, cautioning Melinda about Cornell's unsettling demeanor, yet she had dismissed these concerns, convinced of her safety. Despite mounting evidence implicating Cornell, prosecutors recognized the need for more than conjecture to substantiate a case. Specialists were enlisted to scrutinize the lockbox for fingerprints and DNA, seeking irrefutable links to the crime scene. Concurrently, detectives unearthed a troubling history: Cornell's pattern of inappropriate behavior toward female clients, a dark secret that had remained buried until now. As the investigation into Melinda Snyder's murder deepened, Cornell's name surfaced repeatedly, transforming what seemed to be a routine professional relationship into the epicenter of inquiry. Cornell's interactions with Melinda, coupled with his inconsistent alibi and access to the lockbox, placed him firmly under the investigative microscope. A deeper probe into his background revealed a sinister pattern: informal complaints from several women about his conduct during property showings, though these grievances had never crystallized into formal charges. It appeared Cornell might have manipulated his professional role to infiltrate women's homes, masked under the guise of business dealings. The crescendo of suspicion culminated in a sanctioned search of Cornell's residence and vehicle. Within, investigators unearthed a set of keys, among them a duplicate of Melinda's house key, a discovery that sent shockwaves through the investigative team. Cornell hastily explained the key as a relic from a prior showing, forgotten and unreturned, a narrative that did little to quell the growing doubts about his innocence. In this intricate tapestry of human behavior, where trust and betrayal intertwine, the quest for truth becomes paramount. As the investigation continues, it serves as a stark reminder of the shadows that can lurk behind the facades of familiarity, urging us to question the narratives we are presented with and to seek the deeper truths that lie beneath. In the quiet corridors of a life once filled with promise, the echoes of a tragedy began to unravel. The forensic tests, the silent witnesses of science, revealed a crucial truth. Melinda's DNA lingered on a key, suggesting a recent encounter with the object. This revelation, however, was but a single thread in the complex tapestry of evidence against Cronell, a man now enshrouded in suspicion. Detectives, burdened with the gravity of their task, faced the formidable challenge of connecting Cronell directly to the scene where innocence had been shattered. The forensic team, with painstaking precision, sifted through fibers and fingerprints collected from Melinda's bedroom, each piece a potential harbinger of justice. Simultaneously, the legal machinery began to churn. Prosecutors prepared to petition the court for Cronell's DNA, an action that would ignite a protracted and acrimonious legal battle. As the proceedings unfolded, Cronell's demeanor transformed. Once cooperative, he became increasingly combative, his responses evasive, his insistence of being unfairly targeted growing louder. The shadow of suspicion cast a long silhouette over his past, causing former colleagues, once quick to laud his virtues, to distance themselves, uneasy with the darkening cloud. Investigators, steadfast in their pursuit, prepared to present their findings to the district attorney, fully aware that circumstantial evidence alone might not suffice to secure a conviction. They needed incontrovertible proof, a definitive tie placing Cronell at the scene of the crime to ensure justice for Melinda Snyder. The DNA, a silent yet powerful testament, was pivotal. Cronell's steadfast refusal to voluntarily provide a sample necessitated a court order, setting the stage for a legal confrontation that would ascend to the highest courts of South Carolina. His defense, resolute, argued the interactions between Cronell and Melinda were purely professional, while prosecutors underscored his troubling behavioral history and unauthorized access to the lockbox. After weeks of intense deliberation, the court ruled in favor of law enforcement, authorizing the collection of a cheek swab. The forensic team, with swift precision, matched Cronell's DNA to skin cells found beneath Melinda's fingernails, a critical link that indelibly placed him at the scene of the crime. With this irrefutable evidence, the prosecution built a formidable case, weaving together forensic findings and supporting testimonies. The trial commenced in the early days of 1992 at the York County Courthouse, a somber gathering of Melinda's family and friends, many of whom were visibly moved by the proceedings. The prosecution painted a chilling portrait of Cronell, depicting him as a man who meticulously orchestrated the crime, exploiting his intimate knowledge of real estate procedures to elude detection. His repeated unauthorized visits to Melinda's home and misuse of the lockbox were presented as manifestations of a dangerous obsession. In the heart of the courtroom, the relentless pursuit of truth and justice unfolded. Each piece of evidence, each testimony, contributed to a narrative of a life stolen and a community grappling with the aftermath. In the end, the trial was more than a quest for justice. It was a profound reminder of the delicate balance between darkness and light, and the enduring human spirit's quest for truth. Melinda's life was a tapestry weaving together the love of family, the camaraderie of colleagues, and the whispers of an impending shadow. In the weeks that preceded her untimely demise, she confided to those around her about the unsettling behavior of Cronell, a specter she did not perceive would herald such a tragic fate. Her words, once warnings, became poignant echoes in the courtroom where her story unfolded. The prosecution meticulously laid out a narrative of fear and confrontation, presenting a mosaic of surveillance footage, phone records, and forensic evidence. Among these, the strands of Melinda's DNA beneath her fingernails told a silent story of struggle and desperation. In the dimly lit halls of justice, Cronell's defense painted a picture of innocence, suggesting that the forensic traces were remnants of legitimate visits, not violence. They contended the absence of eyewitnesses rendered the case a tapestry of conjecture. Yet, the expert witnesses unraveled this defense, wielding the precision of DNA analysis as their sword, slicing through the fabric of Cronell's narrative. They illuminated the inconsistencies that lay hidden in his account, casting doubt on his claims. After 3 days of intense deliberation, the jury delivered their verdict. Cronell was guilty of first-degree murder. Judge Stephen Harlan, with a voice resonant with gravity, pronounced the sentence, life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, underscoring the calculated brutality of the crime. For Melinda's family, the verdict was a bittersweet balm, offering justice yet unable to fill the void left by her absence. In the wake of their grief, her family pledged to champion enhanced security measures for rental properties, a cause that would serve as Melinda's enduring legacy. Her story, a tragic metamorphosis from a promising realtor to a victim of senseless violence, stands as a haunting testament to the unseen darkness that can lurk beneath the veneer of everyday life.